What's up, guys? It's your boy Mayhem from twitch.tv/ It's Mayhem Gaming. And this weekend, I just saw Freedom, not Freedom, was it? Sound of Freedom. Sorry. That movie was great. It's based off a true story. It's very dark and grim and gritty, but I think everybody should see it at least once, since there's this whole debacle of it needs to be removed from movie theaters, and I guess some theaters are denying it's even there, even though it is there. It's a great film, guys. I highly recommend it. Easily 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, hands down. I think it even outsold Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer, however you pronounce it. It made more than that film, and that film is technically like a high budget film versus the Sound of Freedom, which is like a bunch of guys came together and pitched in money to make this movie a thing, because a bunch of studios and stuff like denied them. And respectively, I can see why from a business standpoint you don't want to like do that, because this is a very raw and like gritty movie. So like it obviously will offend people, and you know trigger some stuff for some people. Maybe some people understand and have gone through this and can relate to the kids in the film. But it's really good. Like I can't I don't understand the political standpoint of how, like, if you watch this film you're against America or whatever, and it's like treasonous. It's like very far fetched from the truth. It's not treasonous. It's just media just depicting a real life scenarios that are happening all the time. Like after watching that, it really made me more like, I don't want to say woke. It's like wokeism is so not woke. It's so stupid. Um, it just made me like, wow, like my environment is just wow. This stuff happens all around me. This stuff could be happening like right now, and I'm here, and I'm just oblivious, and I don't even notice it. So, just it makes me like look at the world differently and like my environment differently, because I live in Florida, and we get Amber Alerts, at least in Southern Florida, a lot. Like, I grew up most of my life in Massachusetts. Like, it's like the whole 17 years of my life there. And it is ridiculous. Like, within the year, I probably get like 3 tops, right? And then now living here, within like a month, I have anywhere from like 8 to like 14 like alerts within a month, which is like flabbergasting to me how frequently it happens. And then after watching this film and just like, wow, seeing this Amber Alert, and like, if nobody gets this child, bro, I'm like, they could be a statistic in the system and be shipped off to wherever in the world, and just like their life is ruined, fortunately. But I here on my PC, I have some tabs up here that I would like to go over and discuss, so we can have like a more in-depth understanding of what's happening and what that looks like. So we'll start here with California. So for the Democratic Party, like, vetoed or canceled or whatever the politically correct term is to just not pass a bill. It says a bill that would reclassify child sex trafficking as a serious felony and impose longer prison terms on people convicted of the crime has cleared a key committee after briefly hitting a roadblock. So like how this happened was several Democrats on the Assembly Public Safety Committee initially voted against advancing the bill to the floor last Tuesday, citing concerns about over incarceration and the risk of criminalizing trafficking victims who became entangled in the operations. Like this right here is like specifically for child sex trafficking, and it's just wow. Like it didn't go through because of concerns of over incarceration and the risk of criminalizing trafficking victims. Like, bro, a child being sold off to be some cartel kingpin's like fuck toy or prostitute, like, is not criminalizing themselves. They did not choose that. That is not the life they want. They didn't want to do that. They got taken and forced into that lifestyle. Like, for real, WTF, man. But State Senator Shannon Grove has to be Groove, who authored the bill, said in an appearance on Fox 40 that the bill is very, very narrow. Like, what? That's just suspect there, dude. It's just like it's really very, very narrow, and then like it's over incarcerating the victims and those that are involved. Like, what? That's insane to me. Then, after facing backlash, the committee passed legislation 6-0 on Thursday, with Assembly member Liz Ortega changing her vote and tweeting that she made a bad decision voting against it initially. Yeah, it's a terrible decision. In what world, in what state of mind is not allowing this bill to pass a good idea? Like, protect the kids, bro. It it's instinct. It's a no-brainer. You see a grown-ass man or woman hurting a 4, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, like, whoop that ass, man. Reprimand them. Do something. Be somebody, dude. Democratic Assembly members Mia Bonta and Isaac Bryan Almeida in Los Angeles did not vote the second time. Under the current state law, human trafficking of a minor for the purpose of commercial sex can occur a maximum of 12 years in prison. Like, you hear that? Like, under current state law, dude, human trafficking of a minor for the purpose of commercial sex can incur a maximum of 12 years in prison. Like, just for commercial sex, 12 years at the max. So if they were, let's go 24, right? And they get 12 years, they get out at 36. I mean, yeah, they lost a piece of their life. They're still pretty useful. Like, they can still bounce back from that, or they can go back into that lifestyle. Like, that is nowhere near enough penalty to just be like, yeah, like, that's like a slap on the wrist, honestly. If that's like a felony, this is the lightest sentencing for a felony that I've ever heard of. The sentence increases to 15 years to life with the case involves force, fear, fraud, deceit, coercion, violence, duress, menace, or threat of unlawful injury to the victim or to another person, according to the California's Penal Code. I guess 15 to life sounds a lot better on paper, but that's still not enough. At least 30 to life or something, man. I like make the 15 years this baby slap on the wrist maximum for this felony, and then just double it if you want to like hurt or force or fear or deceive these victims into sex trafficking. Like nobody. I mean, I guess you can be deceived, but like nobody willingly wants to be deceived and live this lifestyle. So what's happening next is the bill now goes for the assembly, where Speaker Robert Rivas has said he is very much enraged with the measure. I'm sure he is. He has every right to. Because if I'm understanding this correctly, he's for the bill and it didn't get passed, which is still such ludicrousy, dude. And that just makes like the people of this country like wonder like, oh, like it didn't get passed. There's all probable cause why this needs to be set into place. There's so much facts and reasoning and past history why this should be passed and like initiated like immediately. So it would make you wonder like, maybe this like Californian Democratic Party has something to do with the current state of child sex trafficking. But California is one of the largest sites for human trafficking in the U.S., according to the state attorney general's office. Like that's crazy, dude. That's really like the bigger picture here, right? Like California is one of the largest sites, not just for child sex trafficking, for human trafficking in general, like adults, kids, like all of it is one of the largest. That is insane. So knowing this, that your state is a hotbed for this kind of shit and you don't want to pass this bill, like there has to be a dirty politician, man. There's just no way around it. You have all this data here, like all the stats, the percentiles, the numbers, and you just don't want to do shit. So you must be. It's just obvious. You must be in it and have something to do with it, and you're just turning a blind eye or trying to justify the shit that's happening here. And here it states it consistently ranks first in the nation and the number of human trafficking cases reported to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. It ranks first in our nation. First. Why? Why wouldn't you want this bill to be passed? Your state is number one in the nation. Like it is top. We passing it where it is as of today. Like you're number one, baby. For one of the most vile, disgusting crimes like the human body can commit, dude. That's insane. California is the pilot location for the U.S. Department of Justice's Missing and Murdered Indigenous Persons Initiative in response to human trafficking of Indigenous women and girls in the state. And this is just a brief article from axios.com. It's deals with the local San Francisco journalists. I think they did a very good article here. It was like brief, concise, got straight to the point. Gave you the big key player names here, and like the legitimate like problems here that's happening. But this guy, Governor Gavin Newsom, has expressed support and stepped in to help revive the bill after the community's first vote. Like, I hope it does get revived and I hope it does get passed because it needs to be in place. Like the state of California is a threat to children and the general public when it comes to being kidnapped and sold off into human trafficking. That's so crazy. So we're gonna go into here, the afc.hhs.gov website, and it just gets straight into human trafficking data collection activities for 2021 and through 2022. We'll just get straight up into here. The U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Statistics has released a report describing their human trafficking data collection and reporting efforts for 2021 and 2022. The report detailed ongoing and completed efforts to measure and analyze the nationwide incidence of human trafficking, to describe characteristics of human trafficking victims and offenders, and to describe criminal justice responses to human trafficking offenses. Additionally, it provides information on human trafficking suspects referred to and prosecuted by U.S. attorneys, human trafficking defendants convicted in U.S. District Court, and admissions to state prison for human trafficking. And then we'll just briefly go over their highlights here. A total of 2,198 persons were referred to U.S. attorneys for human trafficking offenses in fiscal year 2020, a 62% increase from the 1,360 persons referred to in 2011. That's a, bro, we're talking like 10 years here, guys. And it's a big increase, like from 1,360 to like 2.1K. Like it's pretty it's pretty close to like doubling itself right there, almost. Then the number of persons prosecuted for human trafficking increased from 729 in 2011 to 1,343 in 2020, an 84% increase. So, like, they were prosecuted, they weren't convicted or anything, or like sentenced. They're just prosecuted. So 729, right? You can like highball that 800 to, we'll highball this to 1,400 in 2020. Like that's a significant amount of people being prosecuted, which is great. We need these fools in court. They need to be tried. They need to be convicted, and they need to be sentenced for like a long time, like life. Like lock them up, throw away the key, and forget about them. The number of persons convicted of a federal human trafficking offense increased from 2011, 464 persons, to 2019, 837 persons, before falling in 2020, 658 persons. Which is great. Convicted is great. Once you're convicted, that's it. You're guilty, dude. There's like very few options you have left, and they all lead you being locked up, which is great. I love 2019, 837 persons. That's great, dude. That's almost 1,000 people just convicted, awaiting to be bagged and tagged, dude. I dislike that it fell in 2020. I don't know what happened there. Maybe like misread rights or something, or whatever conspiracy happened here. Or maybe our own politicians had something to do with this. I don't know. I just don't like how high it increased from 2011 to 2019, and then it slightly dropped. But of the 1,169 defendants charged in U.S. District Court with human trafficking offenses in fiscal year 2020, 92% were male. That's a lot. 92% of them. are men. That's sad, man. Traditionally, you think men are supposed to be stoic, strong, calm, witty, gentle, fierce. So it's just a shame to see that almost 100% of the defendants, the people committing these heinous crimes, are men. 63% were white. Now that kind of surprises me because you think when you think cartels and stuff, right? You think like Colombians, Mexicans, maybe even Cubans, whatever, like Honduras. So it's just, that's like wow, man, like white folk. What's happening, dude? No, I'm not targeting white people. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like the white race is the cause of this. Everybody has a hand in it. It's not like a set number here. It's just a like percentage that were in court being prosecuted, convicted, and charged. So, but like that's shocking to me. And 18% were black. What's even more shocking to me from the 63% that were white is that 17% of these men were Hispanic. Like that's crazy. I guess I can't just beat up the guys like that. I'm assuming the races here possibly include female. And now remember this. Earlier we read California is number 1 and one of the largest sites for human trafficking. 95% of persons that were prosecuted, convicted, and charged defendants and this data collection here, 95 were US citizens. Now, I don't know how many of them were from California, but they're all from this country alone. You know how scary that is, bro? That that is that's alarming. Like your neighbor could be a human trafficker, dude, or a pedophile that's trying to sell like these kids for whatever amount of cash or currency or traded goods. And what's even scarier is that 66% of all these people had no prior convictions. 66%. So that's like the 92% of the men here, the 95% being from the US. This is like their first crime or their first convicted crime. You know how scary that is? It's just like, wow, dude. Like, how long were they getting away with this, dude? That's insane. And then hearing these percentage statistics for this data collection here, and then knowing that California is one of the largest sites for human trafficking, and that it is number 1 like within the nation, and then you're just gonna say no to this bill right here, man. This is a .gov website. Like your peoples, they know what's happening. They know what's good, man. Why? Why would you say no to this? Like all the hard facts, the datas, the numbers, it's here, man. The percentages, they're all here. They are significant increases, all within less than 10 years. Less than 10 years, bro. Like between late middle school to early college, there has been a humongous spike. And this is all within our country. That's despicable, bro. And then we have these guys like representing us to the Eastern world and stuff. That's insane. I'm like, maybe I'm sure, right? Somebody over in the Eastern world is in here, right? Because human trafficking is one of the most profitable illegal businesses. Like, period. I don't know the number, but if you watch The Sound of Freedom, they tell you, and it's somewhere in the high billions, bro. Like billions. You could have $1 billion and you'll never spend that. All you know, you'll never you can live your whole life and you will never spend that money. You know how much that's insane. Like they're making billions. Like not just like one, like I'd say between like 50 to 100 billion. It could be more. Honestly, it could be a lot more. You gotta watch the movie and like you'll find out more statistics in there. But like the amount of money is stupid. Like Elon Musk in a year doesn't make like half the amount this illegal trade makes within a year. It's ridiculous, dude. Yeah, but that's all I want to share at the moment when it came to that. I just think it's really weird, man, that this movie came out and now there's all this hate for it and about it. Like they want it removed from the theaters and um you're against America or whatever if you watch this. And I feel like it's a pro like American thing to do. Like you should watch this as an American. You should educate yourself and understand what's happening like in our nation. Like these are heinous crimes against humanity. Honestly, that shit is so sad and disgusting. And I'll tell you this: the boy in the movie, he's 4 years old in the beginning. I don't know like the time lapse and stuff, but like he's like 4 years old, 5 years old, I want to say, and the girl is like seven, like 6, 7, 8, around there, and they get bought and sold off, and like horrendous things happen to them, man. Horrendous things. And the Homeland Security agent Tim, the kids call him Timoteo, which was like in Spanish is Timothy, and like he spoilers, guys, he goes like undercover, and he has to act like a pedo, and then he does something to get one of the pedos removed from incarceration, and then this pedo has a book, and this guy buys his book, reads his book, and he like studies it and shit. And he gets really in there, and he starts meeting these other like pedophiles that are part of like the human trafficking project with like this Colombian cartel, and then they sell it to this Mexican cartel and stuff. These kids, and then this guy gets like a portfolio with like different kids and stuff, and then he recognizes one of the boys because he talks to his father, and his father sends him pictures of his kids so he knows what they look like, and he recognizes him, and the little boy's name is Aguilar. No, Miguel Aguilar, and they changed his name to Teddy Bear, and it's so sad, man. Like what happens to him? Like I'll give you like a brief description of the scene. So like spoiler alert, guys. Um, this fat fuck purchases him from this club in Singario, and then they fly off to Mexico to Tijuana, and he brings him to this strip bar, and this guy over here, he's getting touched up by strippers and stuff. He's like smoking a cigar, he's sniffing coke, he's drunk, and then he brings the boy to this like room or whatever, and then this lady like is like touching up on this kid and talking about how nice his face is and his skin and he's so like beautiful and whatever. And she like this cheesy like not door, it's like this glitter thing, and they're like drapes, and he like goes through it, whatever, and he like drags this kid up the stairs, and then he like throws him on the bed, and like he forces him to like lay down with like his legs spread open, like missionary position, and like the kid's like holding his legs up, and like you know what's gonna happen, and the kid, you can see him, he's like crying, and like he's like sighing depressively because he knows what's gonna happen, and then like the dude's like unbuckling his belt, he drops his like tequila and shit, and then like he slams the door. Like I'm glad they don't like try to reenact that because that's like very intense and graphic and like traumatizing for sure. But you know what happens, and it's so sad because then right after that they go into like another scene of like a child being assaulted, and it's just so sad because like that stuff it really happened to that child, and justice is served, bro. Like shit happens to that pedo dude, but eventually like later on in the movie, this kid goes to a doctor, and then like the doctor does a physical on him and finds that he has like anal hemorrhaging and shit, and like lacerations on his like anus and stuff, because this kid's like raped every fucking day, dude. And it's like that's crazy to think like, yo, your 5-year old is like gone for like several months, and he's just being like beat and raped every day for like money. Wicked sad. But that's all I have today. This movie's a easily a 10 out of 10. If you do watch it, stick around for the credits. There is a post scene. It's 2 minute. It's a 2 minute wait process, but there's luckily on the bottom right hand corner there's a timer. You can just wait it out, and there's a special message for everybody who watches it. I won't spoil anything about that. Just you gotta see it yourself and hear it for yourself. It's inspirational for sure. And then lastly, if you're like a spiritual person, there are references to like the Bible and like certain scriptures in the movie. When this guy Tim, he books a pedo, he recites some verse from the Bible. I don't know what it is, but it's about God's children and how they shall not be harmed or sold. And it's like basically like modern day English is like, oh, those who would harm and like forsaken the children of God shall be like cast to the sea with rope around their neck, held by cinder, to never be free and drown in their own dismay and hatred. And like that shit gave me like goosebumps, man. Cause like even if you're not religious, man, like anybody or spiritual, like it's just like human like instinct, man. Like it's primitive, paternal, maternal instincts. Like if you're going to attack the children and stuff, like you deserve death, honestly. But that's all I have time for today. In the upcoming week or 2 weeks, we'll be posting another video, and then we'll be introducing CeeLo, my co-host. You know, He hasn't been on here yet recently. It's just, we're adults. Life happens. But if you do use Twitch, go to twitch.tv/CEG Executioner 187. I'm Mayhem. I'm signing out. Have a good evening, morning, or night. Later.